Good morning. Day 16 on our Direttissima attempt. Wow. I gotta say, trying to set up camp yesterday in literally a downpour um, was something I won't forget anytime soon. The good thing about it was that it wasn't super cold. I've definitely been in these situations, and while I was very pruny and very wet, once everything was set up, even if the floor of the tent was wet, once you get on that air mattress and get on that sleeping bag, it's very comfortable. And just keeping that sleeping bag dry is so important. Now, I have been in situations where it's been that same kind of miserable rain coming down, but much colder, where as soon as you stop, you start shivering, and that's not a good sign. And I've had to just set up the tent really quick and not even change out of wet clothes, just hop in that sleeping bag, even though you know the sleeping bag will get wet. It's designed to still keep you warm. Might not be the most comfortable sleep, and just ride it out and get a hot beverage going, and stop that hypothermia before it starts. As soon as you get those shivers, you gotta do something quick to warm up. So we didn't have that problem yesterday. We were just wet, very wet. I mean, there were so many puddles in the tent. I haven't had puddles like that in a long time. And just I've been alternating socks every day, trying to keep a drier pair. More for mental than anything. I mean, because your shoes get soaked right away and so do your socks. But I was using those socks to basically sop up the puddles and wring them out. And psychologically that made a difference. So we're happy about that. It rained pretty steadily all night, and heavier rain, heard the thunder for hours. Pretty steady downpour rain. So we're very lucky and fortunate and thankful that we got a break. It's like 7 in the morning. I never set an alarm, just kind of wake up whenever. I was up a lot earlier yesterday. Takes a little more to get going on a day like today, because basically once I got in the tent and got situated, I ripped off my t-shirt, which was soaking wet. I obviously ripped off the shoes and the socks, and even ripped off my hiking shorts, because it was just, I didn't want to have any wet clothes getting on or anywhere near that sleeping bag if I didn't have to. And so I just put on a different layer, just a very thin Patagonia Capilene base layer that I usually will wear on top of a t-shirt if I'm a little cold. And something I've been doing for a couple of years now, I always bring an extra pair of shorts, more so for those long backcountry trips where you just don't want to get if you get a rip in the pants, you can always tape it up, but I just carry an extra pair of shorts. So I had a dry pair of shorts I could put on. But what that means is in the morning, after you're nice and toasty and warm, and you're kind of having to look at the state of things in your tent and everything's still damp to wet, and you got to start, thinking about getting moving. I have a pretty good routine with breaking camp in the morning, so pretty much I get everything out of the tent. I'm the last thing to get out, and as I get out, I'm putting on the wet socks and Crocs initially. But this morning I had the extra bonus of putting on that cold, wet t-shirt, those cold, wet hiking pants. But as soon as you get out and start moving, you don't even really notice it. We're about 2.5 miles from the hut. And just because it was the cold and wet, I was hoping to be able to wait until we got to the hut until, going to the bathroom and taking care of business, but that wasn't happening either. So the one good thing about the rain is the ground's really malleable, so with the trowel, I was able to really get a good cat hole going and take care of that. I'm kind of walked down to the edge here of the brook. You can see the water's flowing pretty good. That's the one good thing also about reconnecting with the AT, although we won't be on the AT for very long today. Just through years of through hiking, there were plenty of spots to camp, you know, and I needed one yesterday, desperately. The Gut Hook app, now it's far out. You can definitely get an idea of what's around, but if you just keep your eyes open while you're on the trail, you'll see little herd paths. That's what I ended up doing yesterday because I just didn't want to pull out the gut hooks, and I kind of had an idea of where sites would be. That's how we landed here. Oh man, the sun. Oh baby. That is amazing. The sun. That's great. If we can get up to the hut and like dry some stuff out, especially the tent. The tent is, it's twice as heavy as it normally is because there's so much water with the tent. Oh man, I hope that sun stays out for a few hours. That would be amazing. Anyway, we're gonna get moving here. We're gonna get to the hut and we'll check in later. Hello, hello. I don't know if you can hear me. Day 16 update. It's about 9 a.m. We made it to the Zealand hut. The Zealand Falls behind me. You can see how much rain we had last night. They are roaring this morning. The sun is trying to come out, but I don't think we're going to see much sun today. So the caretaker at the hut was gracious enough to allow me to store some gear inside of the hut. And I'm going to be taking off for Hale as soon as I'm done this coffee. We'll check in later. Hello friends. Day 16 update. Sunday, May 15th. It's about 11 in the morning. It's like in the high 50s, but as you can see, very overcast. The sun tried to poke out a couple of times, but I don't think we're going to see much sun. You can see the summit cairn structure for Hale. We're on the top of Mount Hale. We've already got almost 6 miles in today. Luckily the rain has held off so far, but I imagine at some point it's coming. So now we got to backtrack. This was one of our longest out and backs to hit a summit. It's almost 3 miles one way from here to the hut. So we're going to go back to the hut, repack all of our gear, have a little snack, make sure we have enough water so we can dry camp tonight, because we're not going to get all the way down the Crawford Notch tonight. And we'll take it from there. Right now, just airing out. The usual routine, airing out the feet, giving them a little bit of breathing ability, having a little snack, and then we'll be making our way back. With all the rain last night, it's no surprise that the trails are muddy and wet and runny, but I mean, that's fine. I'll take that over deep post holing any day. There's still a little bit of ice and snow coming up Linda Hale Trail, but pretty insignificant at this point. So hopefully that trend continues as we hop on the A to Z trail to go get Tom and Field and Wiley. Don't forget Wiley. I got to keep telling myself that because I didn't highlight it on the map as I showed you guys earlier. That's it for now, and we'll check in later. Hello friends, day 16 update. We just came back down off of Mount Hale, and we've got a window of opportunity with some blue sky to maybe dry out some of our gear from last night. So we're trying, while we have a little bit of sunshine, basically got everything out and about, even to just get the really wet stuff off. I think at least our tent will be fairly dry, and the sleeping bag may still be a little damp, but it's just a rainy day. What are you going to do? Other than that, we're just treating ourselves to another cup of coffee. It's like 12:30 in the afternoon. That out and back to Hale, it's almost 6 miles, so that's a decent chunk of our day. But I want to try and make it over to the Mount Tom Spur area, maybe scope out a campsite, and maybe summit that today, depending on what the weather does. So for now, we're just doing the usual, drying out our feet. We already have water for a dry camp tonight, and we'll start packing things up and heading out soon. Hello friends, day 16. It's around 4:30 in the afternoon, and a piece of dirt on there. Whew. We had a big climb on the AZ Trail before we hit the junctions with Wiley Field and the Mount Tom Spur, and kind of looking around for a place to set up camp. And literally right after I got the fly on, the rain, as you can hear, started coming down. Luckily we have everything in the vestibule, so we're not going to have the puddles that we had last night. I'm going to take off these wet clothes, put on some dry clothes, get everything set up. So timing is everything, right? Overall, it was pretty comfortable hiking up. Just had on the one layer, you know, because you're generating a lot of heat. And it did rain on me off and on, but not as heavy as it's doing right now. And there were also some big, unavoidable puddles of water on the trail, but otherwise a pretty nice trail. Certainly a lot nicer than Shoal Pond Trail as far as putting in the miles and gaining elevation. So I'm going to sign off for now and get situated, and we'll check in one more time, kind of give a recap of 16. Hello, we're here with the day 16 of our White Mountain Direttissima recap. Another good day. We didn't see a whole lot of sun today, but we didn't see a whole lot of rain either until like the very end of the day. And luckily I was able to get the tent set up before the rain really started, and it's calmed down again right now, but it seems to be moving through in waves. So finally day 16, and just count it, and we're at 28. 28, that's awesome. And if it hadn't been raining, I was feeling pretty good. I probably would have gone up and tagged Mount Tom today, but the rain kind of changed those plans. It's, for me, more important to be comfortable and dry, and Tom will be there in the morning. So the plan tomorrow morning is to hit Tom. We'll probably hit Field and Wiley first, because that's going to be a longer out and back. That's going to be 2.3 one way, so that's going to be almost 5 miles round trip. And then we'll go hit Tom, which is like another 1.2, and then make our way down to Crawford Notch. Maybe I think there'll be a trash can there. We can unload some trash. And then we'll have to decide what we're going to do. Are we going to shoot for the Newman tent site? Are we going to we're going to like make our way towards Mount Jackson to kind of cut some time off the out and back on that one? Not quite sure. Just want to kind of be set up so that not tomorrow, which is Monday, but the following day, Tuesday, we give ourselves plenty of time to do our southern Prezi Traverse, but that's also going to include Washington and isolation before we head back down. So that's going to be a big day. So hoping for good weather on that. Hoping for good weather on Tuesday, if everything goes according to plan. And it would be great to. It's a great hike. I've done it many times, and hopefully we get some good weather, and then we'll head down to Pinkham Notch, or near Pinkham Notch, and maybe I'll do a resupply there. I'll have to see how many more meals I have. Probably more likely would do a resupply after coming down from the Carter Moriah range, but I kind of figuring that stuff out right now for timing for a resupply from Sarah. So, oh, and one I was so happy that I got the tent set up before the rain. Last night it was just so wet and drenched in the puddles. I told you that whole story, but I at least was cognizant enough to leave my backpack out of the tent because it was soaked. Everything was so nice and dry in the tent today that I actually said, oh, I'll throw the backpack in the tent. Of course, the backpack was soaked, and 5-10 minutes of not paying attention and looking in that corner where the backpack is, and there's puddles of water. Well, of course there is, because it's all coming from the backpack. So, not my brightest moment. I sopped up the water, threw the backpack outside under the vestibule, but our super dry tent went to a section of tent that's not so super dry, but oh well. We're mostly dry, and we're warm, and we're about ready to eat and kind of settle in for the night. Hopefully get an early start tomorrow. Hopefully it won't be rain. It all depends on what the weather's like in the morning. Hopefully it won't be raining at all or not too hard. But we'll see. We'll see how that goes. Otherwise, feeling good. The weather, it's not too cold. It's good times. And we'll see you tomorrow for day... What day will be tomorrow? And we'll see you tomorrow for day 17.